All right, everyone. We are live streaming. It is Saturday. It's been a while. I got the legend. I got REI Jared here, who is going to be the day two speaker at the ORAD event in Vegas. And I also have Curtis, PE turned RE. So thanks for joining me this Saturday, fellas.
Good
Yeah.
morning. Thanks for having us.
So hold on. I'm going to just, so Jared, if you have, I started the Instagram site. So if you want now, you can go to Instagram, hit the go live. So Jared is testing out his streaming. But let's get Frank on here too. So there we go. And we got the other legend in
Hey,
the community, Frank, old guy REI tuning in. So morning, Frank. He just
Good
woke
morning.
up actually, everyone. So
Can you
that's why
hear
he's
me?
a little yes, but that's why
Okay.
he's a little late. But yeah, Jared reached out to me last night. I said, yeah, let's just hop on, shoot the shit, see what's going on. I kind of just made the main topic, maybe, are we in a recession? Kind of how we're going to deal with things or how we're looking at things, and are we really in a recession? So, what's your guys' thoughts on that? So
Yeah.
Jared, though, it's been a while, so maybe give everyone a little update on what you're doing and what you're doing now, I guess.
Well, I'll answer that question though. I think for 60+% of the population in the US, I'd say yes. They would say yes, they're in a recession. For the top 20, they'd say no. And then that middle class, they might be or might not, depending on if they own assets or not. So yeah.
No, cool. No, great. But like I said, just maybe like it's been a while, so maybe
Oh,
give everyone an update on what you're working on. And I mean, most people probably know what you're doing, but give them what your new strategy, I guess, is.
yeah. So I've been doing rent by room for a couple years and I've been using Pad Split. So for those that don't know, rent by room is you take a single family home or multifamily home and rent out the rooms instead of the whole thing. I'm focused on Arizona. I live in Oregon, but I focus on Arizona because of the different various, the price points, the property taxes, insurance, yada yada. It just made sense for me. And population and the workforce housing target, the audience there was good. But I have 3 houses, 24 units with Pad Split, and then Pad Split changed their fee structure to the point where it didn't make much sense to me financially. I mean, it's still profitable. So I decided to pivot. So my 4th house I bought, I turned it into 8 bedrooms also. I do 8 bedrooms, no more, no less. It's perfect for me because of the cost of the housing. And I'm running it myself. And so far I have 3 1-year members. I'll say members. I don't do tenants, we do member agreements. And so the consensus before doing this, the research with other hosts that are also leaving Pad Split made a mistake, in my opinion, but that's another topic with their fee structure change, but is that it takes longer to fill, but it's more beneficial long term. Whereas the Pad Split is a 12-week commitment, which they don't really hold you to or the members to. And then they do week by week. And so you got a lot of turnover. My average in the last 2.5 years or so is 4.7 months. So the fee structure changed where they take 100% of the first 10 days plus 8%. So that didn't make much sense to me versus the static of 12% before. And so I switched, pivoted. I'm 19 days in. I have 3 members now of the 8 with 1-year leases or member agreements, whatever you want to call them. So far so good. And I like it. I like to be able to see the background checks, the credit and all that. With Pad Split, you don't see that. They go out and do the vetting for. The good thing is with Pad Split, it's a good training wheels kind of thing for a co-living person to start off with. But they do all that stuff. Now, whether they do it good or not, that's up to you, but you don't get to see it. And so just for reference, I turned down about 40% of the Pad Split people that get sent to me just in a 10-minute conversation with them up front. So that gives you an idea. At least that's me. I mean, some people take every single Pad Split member that is given to them and they got a lot of problems. So for me, yeah, I mean, yeah, hey man. So everybody's different. So for me, the main things with co-living for those that are listening are the property itself and the people. Those are the 2 main things. You got to make sure in your market, depending on what you have. I'm getting a little off topic, but parking if it's an issue, or if we have public transportation for mobility, and then the people themselves. But yeah, that's what I did. I decided to pivot, and man, I like it better. So I think if when my lease runs out on the first one, I think it's January 2020. Yeah, 26, then I think I'll peel that one off and start, if this works out, and I'll start rolling into the co-living without Pad Split. So that's what I'm doing.
Very cool. Very good update. Curtis, you didn't really pivot, but you do have your real estate license now. So how's that going for you?
yeah, it's going good. And before I get started, I didn't even know Frank was going to be on, and I'm over here wearing his shirt. So what a coincidence there.
At least wear it. No, hold on. Let me turn your mirror around. There we go.
There it is.
There we go. Show it the right way. Do it.
There it
Do
is.
it.
Look, looking good. Looking good.
Thank you, thank you. But yeah, no, things are going good there. I'm actually in the process of sending out like some mailers. So this weekend, about 440 are going to be dropped off in the mailbox, and a portion of those is for agent stuff, like single family, and then a portion of those is going to be to apartment owners actually in the area. So nice little mix.
Very nice. Quickly then, your thoughts. Are we in a recession? Are you feeling the impact of it?
Yeah. So for those that don't know, while I am an agent and an investor, my day job is I'm still a teacher. So I'm very involved in the community. I hear stories of the kids and the families that we work with, and based on the population that I work with, we definitely are for them, at least. Our school this year, everybody gets free lunch and free breakfast, but which is nice. But the reason is because the families are so poor. And so while it's great that we can feed the kids, but us receiving that grant is kind of a catch 22 because it means that our families are going through a rough time. So uh, yes and no. Whereas I guess for the investor side, I think we're all doing well, right? We're seeing stocks go up, we're seeing our investments go up, but there is another side to it as well.
Cool. I like that. Frank, you can give us your thoughts on that and you can maybe update us. So Curtis already mentioned the shirts that you are selling for the Vegas event to donate to the Blind Center. Maybe you give us a quick update on how that's coming along, how many more shirts you have to sell, you think. And Flavio, of course, is bringing up when is the black and gold edition coming out?
Yeah, well, he came up with a pretty good design. I think he should get some of those printed up and start moving those. For our shirts, sales have been a little bit slow. Last year, my goal was to donate $1,000. We made it 50%, so we donated $500 last year to the Blind Center, and then I'm hoping to do the same this year. I have probably, I would say I still have about 30 or 40 shirts, and the sizes range, like I said, from small to double X, even a couple triple X, um, lots in the middle, medium, large, and extra large, and they're $30. That pays for the shirt, the shipping, and a $10 donation to the Blind Center for each shirt sold. So yeah, just hoping to think of some different ways to get the word out. Thanks for showing that.
Yeah,
A
there's
lot
the
of
back
people
of
like
it.
them. Yeah, a lot of people like them. A few have asked for black shirts, but I can't get any printed until all the gray shirts are sold. So, and the black shirts are probably going to go at a premium. So be ready for that.
If you have I'm trying to look for it. I know you sent me a PayPal link before, but if you can put it in a private chat and I'll throw it in the chat section. I can't seem to find mine right now.
Okay.
But I see Dion tuning in. So morning, Dion. I see Flavio. I see a lot of people tuning in. Tiffany's tuning in. And I see Brian tuning in from probably Jared's channel. I believe Jared's paired here also. So Brian Keith. So everyone, if you aren't subscribed to Jared's channel, maybe quickly go hop off, go jump onto Jared's side, go subscribe there, and then come back here. But yeah, but you didn't mention also, Frank, do you think we're in a recession, or how are you seeing it affecting maybe your business side of things, and what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Well, you guys know, some of you in when we have our private conversations, that well, I'm a self-employed. I'm a general contractor, and I've always been super busy. But recently, I had a couple of slow months, a couple months back, and so I was getting a little bit nervous. I think I'm in kind of just to save everything you can mode. And we also had a lot of stuff well, not happen, but we put a lot of money into the properties over the last year. So our reserves got pretty low. And so we're just trying to rebuild those. And in past conversations, we've been, I felt fortunate because of what I do, and I can just pretty much go out and, find someone who needs something done on their home and make some money. But it was a shock to me that I couldn't find anybody that wanted anything done on their home. And so I think a lot of the stuff that we're listening to, someone the other day was talking about, the government shutdown and things like that, and how those people will be getting their money in whatever length of time, a couple of weeks. If it extends longer, then that's going to be kind of hard. But their bills don't stop until they get paid, right? So they're having to hopefully they have a little bit of a stash to get them through until they get their paychecks. But yeah, I think I was just trying to think back. It probably at least a year, maybe a year and a half is when we started really being conscious of our spending and trying to save more.
Very cool. I do see Curtis is also streaming. So everyone, like I said, I put everyone's channel links. So go subscribe there. But yeah, I definitely feel this is some kind of, I wouldn't say crazy times, but very uncertain times, right? So like I think Jared touched on it from the beginning. For majority of people, or a lot of the people out there, they are feeling some struggles or pain right now. And then Curtis also touched on from the investor side, though, a lot of us are maybe feeling it a little bit differently, right? So, Jared, what would you say maybe? How should people be handling this situation, right? Let's say for a new person, maybe looking to get started in investing, how would they approach things right now?
Same thing you hear on, Zuber's channel and everywhere else is, try to save that delta, whatever your discretionary, and try to save and invest. I mean, you got to start at some point. So, I mean, I bought silver back a while back at like $20, and now it's at what, 50? So I didn't think that was good. That was just a physical thing to keep around. And now I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I had some stocks that I bought and everything went up. And so you got to get started. Basically, I know it's tough. It's real tough especially now. And same thing could be said for 2.5 years ago. People said, "Oh, the prices are there. It's always going to be tough." I think Dion says this all the time. It's always going to be tough. You just got to start. It's the price of admission. Dion was making $17.50 an hour, and he made it work. So, and he was negative. So if he can do it, I think anybody can do it.
Good point. You did mention in your channel the 10-year bond dropped to 4.036. Is that something you're keeping a keen eye on right now?
Oh yeah, dude. I watch it 3, 4, 5 times a day. I've got 7.65 on one house and 7.5 on another, and I can get down to 7, but it's I know Dion's listening and Zuber's, oh, you should refi. Okay, maybe, but I did refi one of the houses. I got down to 5.62 on one, so I got that one. I'm targeting and trying to refi when I can on certain properties. So that's going to save me about $300 a month on that thing.
Harrison is asking, have you guys had an uptick in evictions? So maybe Curtis, you can go first.
Thankfully, no. A lot of my people have jobs that weren't affected by the government pause, so that's been good. And most of mine, about half of them, actually paid a little early, and so I'm very appreciative of them doing what they need to do. Although I think that also goes into the tenant screening piece.
Frank, for you, any uptick in evictions?
I wouldn't say there's an uptick. We did just have one eviction. You guys have heard me talk about the gun lady, but I don't think that was a financial thing. I think that was she was a little bit off kilter. And so she's out. We're just hoping the new tenant moves in, another Section 8 tenant. That's in Illinois. We almost had one in Gary, but that person moved out on their own. But there were some obviously costs associated with those turnovers, so that wasn't pleasant. But even though I understand everybody's struggling, I don't think we've had any evictions because somebody couldn't pay.
For you, Jared, I know your strategy is a little bit different. What are you seeing?
Well, my strategy kind of plays into what I think the future's holding. So I've actually seen the occupancy increase because of the economic climate. So I was in the high 80s, and now I'm in the mid 90s as far as occupancy. It's because, and I talk to the people and I hear the stories, and it's, you know, hey, we lost the house, and so I'm moving it, you know, so a lot of those kind of stories. And so we're actually seeing an increase in occupancy in the last 6 months to a year or so, I'd say. I did have a dip on one house in the summer, but that tends to be seasonally for that house. It's that area. But other than that, I mean, it's actually, I hate to say it, but we're doing better. But that's how the future. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, Jason Hartman now is looking at rent by room investing. So when somebody that size, you know, I know Pace Morby's been involved for a while. Also, Mark Cuban is investing in pad split for rent by room. So a lot of the big players are seeing this strategy is taking off. I think Jason Hartman said that in the next 5 years, he thinks that the rent by room will be just like the Airbnb was, but I don't think it's going to taper off like the Airbnb did. So I know that wasn't your question, but we're seeing an uptick.
No, great point. Like I mentioned from the beginning, you will be speaking day 2 at the ORAT Vegas event.
Day
I
one.
believe. Oh, day 1. Okay. I'm not sure. Jason Hartman's one of the keynote speakers also. And like you said, he did come out with some videos recently mentioning rent by room and whatnot. So definitely something to go check out. I think before we move on, though, there was in school, I think there was kind of a maybe, I don't know if a misconception of what you're doing, but I think like John Litz, so he was kind of confused, I guess, about, I think you mentioned you have some tenants now that signed up for 1-year leases. And he was under the assumption that pretty much everything was like, you know, month to month kind of thing. So maybe clarify that a little bit.
Well, you know, you can do whatever you want. You know, you can do the week to week, month to month, 6 month, 1 year, whatever, you know, whatever suits your fancy. And so I figured I'd shoot for the 1 year and see what happened. And I got 3 within 19 days. So I'm pretty happy with it. So it's up to the investor, however they think it's going to play in their market. So
Yeah, very interesting. Like I said, I think John was like, "Oh, I didn't really realize, you know, that was kind of an option, or people were doing that, so they thought it was all short-term type of things." But yeah, very interesting. Like I said, I did put the PayPal link for the ORAT shirt. So like, let's get Frank sold out so we can start getting the black and gold edition out there. But if you haven't picked it up, the PayPal link is there. Dion had a great question. Shoot, with my chat move. Where did it go? I was going to share it. Where did it go? He says, there it is. So maybe Frank, you can start with this. Take us to a moment in your investing that got you emotional.
There have been so many. I can't pick one off the top of my head, but I think, well, actually one that just jumped in there was when I had a brief moment of wanting to sell everything and, you know, just take our chances and live on what we got back from everything we bought. And I think you guys were in on that conversation a while back, but, you know, Cynthia brought me to my senses, and we always talk through everything. So that's been a great thing throughout the journey, right? We started buying in 2020. Things got really rough last year, but like everybody says, and she told me at the time, you know, we'll get through it. We done a lot of good things, a lot of good repairs. We replaced a lot of big stuff. So, and it just seemed like everything hit at once, right? You talked about evictions. We had some huge repairs. I talked about that in a recent video, thinking about our next buy, right? I was getting nervous because these first 10 that we got didn't go perfect, didn't go as great as they went in my head the first time. So, but then again, you know, we were talking, she and Mikey and I were talking, and she was telling me the things I should have realized is that everything that we learned, we're not going to make those mistakes again. Hopefully, there were a lot of things that we couldn't see that came up, but there are a lot of things that we learned that we won't do again. So, I think we're on a good path. I think, again, like, you know, we had the evictions, we had furnaces, we had mini splits, we had all this stuff, and it was really drowning. So I guess you could say that got me a little emotional.
Jared, you want to go next?
Well, mine's pretty deep, man. I don't know if people are ready for that this early in the morning, but last year when I bought my second house, I was in the middle of construction, and then I bought my third house while the second one wasn't even done yet, and I don't recommend doing that. So I was bringing up two houses at once, and my mom had a stroke, and then she passed away right in the middle of that. So it was, I mean, I was a mess, and somehow my wife and we got through it. I mean, and so that's just top of the list right there. I mean, I had AC units and furnaces and or all that crap doesn't mean anything. So for me, it was my mom passing right in the middle of doing two houses of the exact same. I mean, it was overwhelming. So we struggled and sort of scraped through and got it done, but it was brutal.
Curtis, for you?
Yeah, Jared, you should have gone last there. Okay, so for me, I remember the first one when I was trying to convert it so that way I would just have my own space, right? Well, I was doing my master's. It was back to school. I just turned 24, first time with landlord, and I'm laying there in bed going through everything that I have to do. The bathroom that actually did have the shower at the time had no floor. I had to replace the whole floor, the subfloor. So I'm laying there. House is a disaster. Schoolwork spread over. I'm so stressed. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And I was just so stressed. I didn't even know what the next step was. So I was like, okay, is this even worth it, right? But I have folks around me that said, oh, yep, just keep going. And so from that what the hell moment to now has been really cool.
All right. Flavio is trying to get me to show the black and gold edition, but I'm not gonna mess around. I think I might mess up the screen. So next time I'll show it out there. But it does look good. I gotta admit, it does. Flavio put together a nice looking black and gold edition shirt. So hopefully we can sell out Frank's one and then get that one out there. Yeah, I'll probably not focus so much on the real estate side because that's kind of what you guys touched on for the emotional. And I think you guys saw how well, Frank wasn't there. He didn't attend the ORAD event, the second one this past year. But getting on stage and receiving that belt, and that was definitely a great moment for me. But at the same time, like I said, I felt somewhat, maybe a failure in the sense I didn't reach my goal of the YouTube subscriber side and social media side. So definitely that was kind of a emotional time for me. But I just want anyone out there, and all of us have YouTube channels. Everyone's at different points. Jared is kicking everyone's ass on subscribers and whatnot. But it's just something. Make sure you stick with it. It's not easy. It's not going to happen overnight. It's definitely a process. And we're constantly all trying to figure out ways to improve, and like Frank's trying to do more live streams, and Curtis is focusing on his agent side, so he's putting more content out there from his agent business. So we're all trying to figure out other ways to get information out there. But definitely don't, if you have any visions of starting a channel or even the social media side, just get started. Just have fun with it. Keep putting content out there. Reach out to one of us. I'm sure one of us will gladly have you on our channels or try to promote, get you some reps in there to practice what you're doing. But yeah, definitely. I think that was kind of an emotional time for me because I thought I would be a lot further on the social media side in a sense. Like I feel like, it just seems like the subscribers should come a lot easier, but it definitely doesn't. I mean, it does take a lot of work, but so I do thank everyone for always supporting and coming to these live streams and putting in great questions and interacting with everyone. And I thank you guys for always willing to do this, right? So I think that's what makes this fun too. You guys are always willing to hop on and share your guys' stories and whatnot. But let's see what else we got here in the chat section. Yeah, Brian Keat says he's coming from Jared's channel. He says he's been in gold since $2,000, $800, I guess, at the time, and now it's well, I don't know, did it go down? I thought it passed 4K, but he says at 3,900. Oh yeah, so Jared says 4K, right? Let's see here. So before we get into some more questions, so like I said, Jared kind of said he watches the 10-year quite a bit. Curtis, is there kind of anything that you kind of follow, maybe data like jobs, or is there something for recession or how the economy is doing? Is there stuff that maybe you specifically follow?
Yeah, so obviously Zuber's Daily Financial News. That one's great. And then there's another one that my designated broker actually shared with me too, where it's kind of the same thing, but it also gets hyper like local too. And so that's been kind of cool. I don't remember the website off top of my head, but it's just nice to kind of know what is going on nationally, right? And then also locally too, to see, okay, are they matching, and if they're not matching, why?
All right, for you, Frank, is it anything specific or?
No, not really. I wasn't ever, I don't know, I talk about the financial literacy part of our journey, and I've been learning so much over the years. So I never really paid attention to anything specific. I do definitely follow Zuber and his daily financial news. I think that's given us a lot of clues as to things we could do better with our money and be prepared for things. And he admits once in a while when he missed a mark or something, which is great. But I think we're in a lot better spot because of him and the whole community, I think.
Yeah, I think to your point, and Curtis, the daily financial news is definitely a great way to get a quick update on what, how the economy is doing. But also to your point, Frank, I think a lot of people, probably don't want to study it that much, right? Get into too much of the weeds. But it's like you're saying, right? It's still wanting to be aware of what is going on, right? So definitely, like, I think you and me, maybe in the same position, 10, 15 years ago, really didn't really care what was going on, right? We were just going with our daily business. But now it's paying attention so that you have some options on how you're going to navigate things. And like Brian, for some, I'm not sure if he's in real estate or not, but he's invested in gold, right? So he's putting his money in that asset class. And I don't know if you guys have been following, like Bitcoin was on a run, and then it took a big dip recently. So even that asset class, you can't deny the results it's getting. But same thing, right? There's a lot of asset classes out there, but you do have to kind of take it into your own hands to kind of how you want to prepare for these type of situations. Let's see what else we got. Hyder says the wage gap is being called a recession, but it is really the separation of the rich and the poor. I think that's kind of to Jared's point in the beginning too, right? So for about, I think you said that you think 60% of the people are probably, feel it or in a recession and whatnot. You guys have any thoughts on Hyder's comment, Jared?
Yeah, if not more. Like I just said 60% to be because I'm conservative, but yeah, it's pretty bad. I talk to a lot of people in my strategy, right? And I hear a lot of stories. So I mean, it's a lot worse than I think most people are giving it credit for.
Do you guys have any thoughts? So like to Hyder's point, and there's a lot of comments. I do a recording with Zuber on Thursdays, we go through the comments section. But I have been seeing a lot of people that believe that UBI or universal basic income is going to be the thing, or that's going to be what's going to be the way out, right? So do you guys have any thoughts on seeing like maybe that is the solution, or that's the path that we're headed towards?
I think we're kind of a bit away from that. I'm not saying it won't ever get there, but I don't think it will be in this decade. Probably, I don't really see the need for it. I think the unemployment rate isn't that high, where I think the government will need to step in and start to send those checks out. But to say that it will never be there, I think would also be kind of like foolish.
To Alex's point, who was on a live stream with me yesterday, sharing his story, it's very similar to Dion's path, going through kind of divorce and whatnot, and then now getting on the real estate path. But Alex says, my W-2 is working for the government as an accepted employee, required to work, but won't get paid until the politicians get things figured out. My investments reduce the financial struggle. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people in that position. And Going back to, when the government was shut down in 2020, that's really what really woke me up from, me having a pension and relying on that. And then really made me focus on my own financial situation. And like Dion likes to mention, right, kind of create your own pension for yourself, right? Let's see. Alex says, I get emotional every time I buy. I've got to keep that stuff in check. Oh, that's a great. Um, you want to touch on that one, of you guys, as far as when it's time to buy or you're looking for properties, is getting emotional about it?
Yeah, I think that's one great self awareness, because I'm sure there's other people that do the same but don't recognize that they are being emotional about it. So I think that's a great step. But two, I think to pretend like that's not a thing for people would be disingenuous, because especially when you're newer or you don't have as many deals, right? You're just excited for the next one, or or you have some type of feelings about the next one, and I think that can sometimes skew your view on the deal, or play some type of factor in how you're negotiating it. And I just think that it's something to keep in mind.
What about you, Frank? Get
Yeah.
emotional?
Well, yeah, obviously I did, because we got the 10 doors in 4 years. And we've had the conversation before, and Jared mentioned it earlier, that he recommends not going too fast. And that's why we started. Well, part of the reason we started our channel was to help people see what can go wrong if it does and how we're working through it. But it seems like that, just talking to people about that, I guess nobody listens, right? We've told a lot of stories about things that went wrong because we went too fast. And it just like falls on deaf ears, as they say, because you do get excited. And in the beginning for us, it was a little bit tough. Our DTI was off and things like that, so we couldn't buy for a while. But then once it got into position and we started learning and we did buy one, then you're like, okay, I'm set, and you just go for it. I think one thing that made a difference for us, and Mark, you tease me about my age all the time, but my age was a thing, right? Because I don't have 10 or 20 years for appreciation and those kinds of things to kick in and help us in the future. So we were going for cash flow. So we bought, say, C minus properties. And we're learning a ton. I think one of the biggest things that I'm hoping to do now, and I think it was Josh Burdick who was talking on our last call, that wondering if I was going to transition and maybe, so if I think I bought properties that were in a little bit, I guess, shaky side, would I consider buying things, say, in a B minus or better area, better properties to get better tenants? The cash flow isn't going to be as great, but the turnovers are going to be less too. So those are the kinds of things we learn over time. And if we hadn't gotten started, we wouldn't even have those options.
Yeah, so I'll let Jared also answer this question, but I also saw Jared kind of shaking his head when UBI was brought up. So you can also touch on that a little bit also as part of it.
I don't want to get all negative on the UBI, but I hate to say it, but we've already started stable coin, $1,000 for childbirth, 18 years. So we're in 18 years we'll be there when I don't like it. But anyway, but the emotional thing, yeah, every single time, like the first one, man, there was a nanosecond there where I was like, am I out of my mind? And I just went for it, right? So the first one, that's the big one everybody's worried about. And then the second one, I was like, oh, okay, same thing. But then I bought the third one while the second one was under construction, which was even crazier. And then my fourth one, I pivoted. So every single one has been this major thing. Like I'm still in the rent by room strategy, but I pivoted away from the property manager pad split, and I'm doing it on my own, which is nuts. So yeah, I'm emotional every single time.
Letting you know, Brian has mentioned you guys have talked before over the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if I saw Val comment yet, but I don't know if he's tuning in. But he messaged me this morning, and I think this is a great question. So I'll let you guys also dig into it. So he says, um, there's a house that backs up to his house, just one house over. It has some people in it. They got put out. I rode by there yesterday. It's got a for rent sign on it, but man, that house is trash. It needs a roof. I'm pretty sure the inside is messed up. Um, and I'm waiting, and he's waiting on this other property he's working on, right? But he wants to know if he should take this down. It's a hot mess, he believes, but he kind of just feels like he always hears talking about people going too fast. So, what would you guys recommend, or how would you, what advice would you give to Val?
Remind me, where's Val at in his journey? Is he kind of in that first 5? Is he
Yeah, in
pro
the
pro?
first 5. So I think his biggest thing is he kind of he sees it as an opportunity property, a great property, but he's also always hearing everyone, like Frank said, we always tell people not to go too fast, and no one really listens. So that's kind of where he's at.
Well, it seems like it's worked out for you and Frank. So I think if he truly believes he can make it work, go for it, right? Or talk to the owner, especially if they're trying to rent it. They might be trying to get some extra income, right? So could you figure out a deal structure that could make it work for you both? Right. So like, let's say that you have a lot of cash because you're doing another project. So there's not a lot of cash on hand. Well, could you lease option it so way you don't have to come out of pocket a whole ton, right? Just try to figure a way out that it works for you and what all the projects that you got going on.
Very good. Frank, any suggestions or thoughts for that Big Val?
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's got the reserves, in case something does take longer or go wrong or anything like that, that would be helpful. I think Val is, well, you mentioned Flavio being a sleeper. Val, I think, is on the same level. He knows a lot more than he shared with us, I think, over the weeks and months. And I think he would figure out a way to do it. I think if he sees opportunity there, and if the place is run down that bad, I guess just like a flip, right? If he can get in and get the whole thing done and be 50% ARV or something like that, then it could make sense. And he knows his market. I was also going to say that you should have Val come on and make that statement, because your voice didn't do it justice.
Yeah, I always try to get Val on. He just always hiding. I think the only person's channel he's been on is yours, Frank. So I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I was really, really happy about that. He's a great guy.
He is. Jared, any recommendations or thoughts for Val?
I don't know, Val, but you guys seem to, and you guys pretty much said it. But I'll just quote Dion. Are you ready? Basically, right? And then also the strategy. What's the exit strategy? So if you are trying to flip it, just look at the market, right? Look at days on market. Look at hold times. Do the math, do the numbers, run the numbers, and if you got the time and you've got the money, and go for it. But I think it was Mick May. I don't know if I'm saying that right. She just said fast is different for everyone, and that's true. Depends on you, really.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are much nicer. My text message to him wasn't as nice as your guys' responses. But yes, Michelle did say, yeah, fast is different for everyone. But I think, as you mentioned, Frank, I think Val definitely is a sleeper, and I think he always kind of touches on a lot of the accountability calls. Is I think sometimes, as great as this community is, sometimes people feel the pressure, like they're letting the community down if things don't go well. So I think as great and supportive as the community is, there is people out there that sometimes feel like they're letting someone else, letting people down. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, so I'll say something, Mark. Even before I met you, I don't think so. Even if we make mistakes, I think that's great to share that. I try to share that. That helps everybody else avoid, or at least potentially avoid that mistake. And something Frank said earlier, where people don't listen. I was one of those people. I went to the first ORAP, man, and everybody, Dion, Matt, Zuber, everybody said, dude, you're a nut job. Slow down. You got to listen to this Mark Ashiro guy. And I didn't know who you were. And I went and listened to your story. And even that didn't change it. It was Coach Carson. He saw me at that event, and I owe him big, because he looked at me and he saw my eyes, because I had some money and I was going to go crazy. I bought one house and I was going to buy all these houses and go nuts. And he said, look, man, he just looked, he's tall, right? He's looking down at me and he says, look, man, let me explain it in a way that you're going to understand. This will be good for people that are in this situation. He said, let's say, and it's simple, but I'm going to say it anyway. He said, look, let's say you go out and buy 10 houses tomorrow, and you learn that you made a mistake or two. You just paid that 10 times. Whereas if you buy one, you learn that mistake, you avoided that cost 9 times. And the money part sunk into my head, right? Because the way Matt said it was slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And being a military guy, I understood that kind of. Dion said, hey, talk to Mark, slow down. And, you say it generally, and it's like, yeah, okay, but the way that Coach said it, he got right through and said, look, don't do it, basically. So, anyway.
Was it because you were taller than me? You decided to listen to him? Like, why didn't you listen to what I had to say?
It was because he tied it to dollars, right? Everybody has that key thing that they, some people's time, some people's emotion. But for me, it's about the dollars. And we're all in this investing for our families or whatever our reasons, our why is. But for me, the dollars really sunk in there. I'm like, oh, yeah, good point. And so then I slowed down for me, like Michelle said. I'm at 4 now, or 5, I guess, but 4. But that's slow for me.
Well, I'm gonna skip over real quick. I do see Brian saying he has several channels. Cool, Brian. What are they about? Put them in the chat. We can all check them out, subscribe. But Brian does mention, he kind of mentions, does Val have the cash flow or reserves? And I think that's always a very great point to put out there, and would definitely help make the decision a lot easier. But let me move back to Ike. Had a great. Where did Ike says? Has anyone bought a house hack and not had a moment of laying on the floor doing a repair and wondering if they made a huge mistake? Who wants to tackle that one first?
If there's anybody this hasn't happened to, I would like to meet them and and get their wisdom, because in the 2 that I've done so far, there's always been that moment where it's like, oh shit, where it's like, okay, did I make a mistake here, right? And you hope that moment's not too long, but I think it always happens.
Anyone else want to dig into that one, or
I would say, to Curtis's point, if you hear someone talking about they've done everything perfect, I don't believe that at all, right? I think you guys made me think about, what Jared was saying about this group, and we shouldn't be afraid to fail. We shouldn't feel pressure from the group about failing. And that was a topic that we spoke about when Millennial Mike did his video about his Gary property, right? If somebody who we consider that big can share his struggles too, I think I've said it a million times, we don't wish that on anybody, but we're grateful that they're willing to share it, because we can learn from it. I think all of us here are, pretty much anybody in the group now is in the same camp, where it's okay to share your any issues that you're having. And it kind of led me to think that I remember Jared, when we first, it wasn't the first time we talked, but we had a phone conversation when I was in the airport coming back from Dion's place, and Jared was asking me about St. Louis, right? Because I don't know, I don't think I ever put out the perception that we were mega investors or anything, or just doing fantastic in our market. And I would never want to encourage anyone to follow us into a market unless we had a track record. Right now, 3 or 4 years into it, I can tell you exactly how it went, and you're probably not going to follow me to St. Louis, right? So I guess my thought there is just to be careful and even vet who you're going to follow, right? Because Dion's done awesome in Washington, but we're not all Dion, so you have to take your personality, your finances, your everything into account before you jump into someone's market just because they're doing well in it.
Yeah, that was just to touch on that St. Louis thing. That was because of a private money loan thing. There was a guy that I was working with that was in that market. So I was trying to get some insight. And then I was trying to vet partnerships, and he vetted it for me because the last minute he brought in a third party, and I was like, he just blew up the whole deal. So that's why.
Yeah,
I'm
I remember.
sticking to my Arizona market, and I'm doing my strategy, and I'm not deviating, even though all this shiny object stuff is everywhere. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm just trying to do the focus thing, fixate on one course until successful.
Yeah, hey Brian, he says he's stuck at 28K subs. So he's pretty big time. So what is your channel about, Brian? Let us know. But yeah, we can all go check it out. Put the links there. But Alex, this was actually kind of a question that was also brought up on the live stream yesterday. So Steve, who's also runs the Thursday accountability call with Alex, Steve said he was kind of called out at dinner by the people they were with that why don't you get your license to do your own deals. But Alex is also asking you, Curtis, how has your knowledge and experience as an investor influenced or impacted your agent business? And I guess we can add on to that. What do you think about someone getting their license to do their own deals?
Yeah, so I'll answer Alex's question first. And so while my agent side of the business is definitely newer, the conversations drastically range. And so I'm very grateful that I have the experience and the knowledge from the investor side, because the clients that I'm working with range drastically. I have people that have a lot more properties than I do, but they need an agent to work with. And then I also have clients way over here that don't even know how to get a mortgage. But because I've kind of been in the community for a few years now, I can talk to both parties confidently and add some value there. And thank goodness I'm also a teacher, so I can break the big scary investor stuff down for the new people that want to do the house hack or things like that. Where I'm still trying to gain some knowledge is like the marketing side of like, okay, how do you actually go out and gain people's business that don't know you, right? And so that's kind of the newer part, but I'm starting to see them blend together. I think if you have the time to use your license, or you're going to do multiple deals a year, I think it does make sense to get your real estate license, especially if you're in a higher price point like market that could really change how deals look. You can use your commission for closing costs, things like that. And so for me, it made sense. And if you're in a higher cost of living area and you do plan on doing multiple deals a year, I'd really suggest that you get it as well.
Great response, great answer. Harrison is asking, are you guys changing your strategy in buying homes? Are you looking for assumable loans? I think he also could be talking about Zuber just had a video with, I believe it's called Rome, where they also can find properties that have assumable mortgages. Jared, is that something you're looking into?
Nope. No desire whatsoever to do real estate agent. So.
Well, I mean,
sorry.
So Harrison's asking if you're changing your strategy in buying homes, and are you looking for assumable loans?
Oh, I have been. Oh, sorry. I was replying to somebody there. I apologize. I have looked at assumable loans, but so far it doesn't make any sense. There's a pretty big equity gap. You have to pay for that. But if you're talking about assumable as far as like sub 2, yeah, I'm looking at those type of things. And also creative. So my third house I bought was off market, direct. And so I'm trying to find those more I don't know, direct type sales, I guess, if you will. But I am using the MLS. I'm using every avenue I can. I don't discriminate anywhere. I'll find a deal wherever it's at, man.
Did Curtis, Frank, did you guys see that video Zuber put out? And have you guys checked out that site yet? Rome?
I have not seen that one yet, but I will add it to the list.
Yeah, I think I looked at it. I think this was the second time he interviewed that individual, and I think it's for me the markets I'm in. They're not in there yet. So I think for the assumable loans, mortgages, there's only certain markets that kind of they have listings or properties in. From what I saw,
Yeah,
there could be another site or whatnot, but from that particular one, Rome.
There's a few, but most of them, I occasionally look like once a week, and that equity, the people want their equity, obviously, and you got to come up with a pretty good amount of money. And so if you want that long-term low rate and it's worth it, then yeah, go for it. But for me, I could spend $100,000 and buy the property that I want. For other people, long-term rentals, that'll probably work. But for me, the property has to, the strategy I'm doing, I have to have like parking and all these different things. So most of them don't fit. So consider the source is what I'm saying.
yeah, and for me, I'm not too interested in sub 2. Now, if someone was open to doing that, I'd probably do more like a lease option type of deal, where you can kind of lease it to them, and then you can set the price as the principal amount when you decide to purchase the property. That's probably more the option that I would go.
So it looks like Brian Keith, he did mention what channels he has. Shoot, where did it go? I'll try to find it. But he like I messaged Frank yet. I don't know if you guys saw, but YouTube is kind of pushing out other features for their live streams. So I'm not sure if you have to use separate software, but we are currently using Restream. But I also know there's like StreamYard, so you can stream on multiple platforms. But YouTube is coming out with some new features to try to get live streams out there a lot more. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And hopefully our channels get to take off a little bit more, because I also been seeing a lot of things that they're not going to be promoting kind of the AI generated type of videos as much now, right? They want more authentic type of content. So we'll see if that helps. But let's see.
Yeah, I think Alex Hormozzi's big book event was actually done on YouTube.
Funny you bring up book. I did see someone mention, hold on, I shouldn't be skipping around, but BuzzTune says, new book idea, stories of the ORAT community in the first 5 years. Yeah.
That's good, man. I like that. There's a lot of stories in this community, and as Zuber says, and Dion and Matt and everybody and Millennial Mike, first 5 years suck, and boy, howdy do they. They're a roller coaster, man. But that's the price of admission, you know.
I think there's already a little book of horrors, isn't there?
Dion says, we all have a freedom clock. Sometimes it takes peer pressure to get us to hit the start button. Well, let's dig into that a little bit. Would you say anyone has peer pressured you along this journey, or I guess to get started, or maybe make a purchase, or
yeah, the U.S. government, federal and the state taxes pissed me off, boy. I actually owe our wonderful leaders, right? Our well, for me, I'm Oregon state, and then our federal government. Big thank you, because they pissed me off to the point with taxes. Sorry to be aggressive here, but to where I actually did something about it. So I didn't start off getting into real estate. I just read a book, Tax Free Wealth is where I got, and then boom, it went from there. So I'm here by accident in a way. So
any other one of you?
Yeah, I think everyone on this live, everyone in the chat, I'm like, okay, I got to be doing something because you guys always check in on me, and see how I'm doing. Hey, what's the new project? And if I say I don't have one or there's nothing really new, I'm like, oh darn it. Okay, I feel like a lame-o. And so then I have to try to go out and do more stuff, which is kind of cool. I'd say our community is more positive peer pressure than the negative, but
I would say there was some peer pressure. I don't know if you tuned into the live yesterday with Alex and Ray, but we threw your name out there that you need to get some Uber drivers in Vegas for the ORAT event. We want to make sure that that's out there in the world to know that.
Speaking of Vegas, you would be so proud of me. I locked up a fantastic deal for my hotel. Fantastic.
Oh, so we can stay with you too, like?
No. It's a
Flavio can.
It's a one-person thing, but $30.
You don't have a shower bed in there too, right? Just like
Curtis, we'll have to talk offline. The first ORAD event I went to, I did that too. It was like $60 and whatever. I've got some stories I can't put on camera here, but dude, it was not good. Even the Uber driver said, "What are you doing staying here?"
No. This place is nice. My coworker, they got me their timeshare, so I said yes.
Hyder says, if hearing mistakes doesn't keep others from making them, it usually makes things real and believable for those entering the game. So they take action and make those mistakes. Mistakes is better than inaction. Yeah. So this one looks like it's for you a little bit, Jared. Alex says, oh no, that was a different one. But Alex says, I wear my failures as badges of honor and I share what I learned. It's my way of giving back. Yep. So like I said, Alex has been a big part of the school community. He took on a big responsibility to jump on with Steve White to run the Thursday accountability call. So if you want to go to a call that's very structured, kind of detail oriented, they're going to buzz you if you go past your time. But they want things flowing and they kind of want more of a accountability type of thing and action oriented. So definitely go check that out on Thursdays. I believe it's 5 p.m. Pacific, but I could be wrong. But let's see what else. Let me see. Hey, Chris Webb is here. Oh yeah, so Brian's channel is the Credit Cousin. I'll put it out there. Credit Cousin 9406, and a secret channel. Okay. Let's see. Deconstructing Dreams is here. Hopefully your detached retina is doing a lot better. Hopefully you're feeling better. But he does say a huge eye opener. I just was looking at my Social Security statement. Since I am older, there's more history for me. I'll keep my comment to myself. I looked at 10-year increments. Each 10 years, I only made $20K more than previous 10 years. This 10-year period, I estimate doubling what I made in previous 10 years, all because of plan and education. Yep, very cool. Are any of you guys ever looked at your guys' Social Security statements? Or are you guys going to get anything, collect anything, or?
I don't even know how that's possible. I mean, you guys are closer in than I am, but I didn't even know that you could do that.
Should just say, Frank, are you collecting it right now?
Not yet, but I did look at it. I think right now my monthly would be about $1,500, so I could live wild under a bridge.
Nice.
Let's see. WW. Do you guys know what this is? I think Hyder answers it.
What would lumberjack landlord do, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Picture gives it away. Yeah.
Also, Big Val is tuning in. Big Val, you might have to catch the replay because your question was brought up. So I'm not sure if you heard them kind of answer it. Someone also mentioned in the chat that Val should become a singer. And then Brian mentions, Jared, I love it when you get fired up. He says your face get all red.
Yeah. Well, can't say I'm not authentic.
Yeah. Let's see. What else can we So we say kind of main topic was talking about the economy, recession, how we're dealing with things right now. Are you guys doubling down, you would say, on what you guys are currently doing? Or are you guys kind of getting caught up in the gold, the Bitcoin? Are you guys looking at other things? Or how are you guys approaching things right now, Frank?
For us, right now it's just trying to get stabilized. I think maybe Curtis mentioned it earlier. We do get asked once in a while what's new, and there's nothing new. We just need to get everything that we have running properly, and then hopefully see more consistent income from the portfolio, and then we'll be able to decide, if and when we can buy the next one.
Curtis, you got, because I know I'm not sure if you have to run. I know Curtis. You said
no. I'm good now. For me, I'm actually doing more. So I'm paying off some student loan stuff, but as far as like the business stuff goes, I'm actually doubling down. I'm putting more into just like the mailers and the open houses, and I'm trying to do more to generate like the business. And while things seem down, if I can make a deal work or make something work in this environment, well, when things get bit better, I'm not sure what that will look like, but right, but then I know I can thrive then too.
Jared, doubling down on what you're doing.
I'm going to thread the needle. So because I pivoted, I'm still in the same strategy, you know, rent by room, but I'm doing it different myself. It's kind of weird because I have a tax goal and I'm trying to hit that zero sum game, no taxes. But given that I pivoted, I haven't proved out this piece. It's feeling good. So I think what I'm going to have to do is give it a couple months, make sure things are working, and then like December, because I have to close on the house before the end of the year in order to, you know, get the write off. So I'm gonna buy a house. Like, it's gonna be tight, man. I'm gonna have to make sure all this works, and then it's probably December, buy the next house so I can get to that zero sum game, and then, you know, get it ready for next year. But so I'm gonna thread that needle. So yes, doubling down, but with caution.
See Tracy tuning in. I'm not sure which channel she's coming from. It could be Curtis or Jared, but Tracy, thanks for stopping by. She says, "Oh wow, caught you live." Lynn says, "Yes, those student loans." Yeah. So, Curtis, when how much longer? How much longer do you think you're gonna have that when you're?
It's gonna feel like forever. So I'm paying on like so I have private ones and I have federal ones. That's the cost of getting my master's, I guess. But so the federal ones are paused, and so I'm still trying to pay them down, you know, so that they don't accrue interest or anything like that. But because they're like frozen, so like they're in like forbearance or something like that, the payments I'm making aren't qualifying towards my forgiveness. Because one reason I became a teacher was like, oh well, the loans are going to get forgiven. Well, if they're paused, I recently found out payments don't count towards the forgiveness there. So it might be a little longer than I anticipated.
Let's see here. Oh, it keeps moving. I think deconstructing dreams is chatting with Chris. So, let's see.
I like all Night Hyder's plan there.
Which one is it? This one?
Yeah.
Or did it? He says, yeah. So Hyder says, I don't recommend it unless in dire straits. But student loan debt can be put on a credit card and the card defaulted on. Just gotta weigh those options hardcore. And yes, we do not give financial advice here. Make your own decisions. But yes, that is an option. But like he says, weigh those options. Tracy says, okay, here. She must be coming in from your channel, Jared. Says, I want to hear about the house he's doing without pad split.
Yeah, I bought a house in the East Valley. I'm in Arizona. I'll make it short because I know this isn't a rent by room, session. But I bought 3 houses on the west side and different market in Arizona, and then I bought this house on the east side, and I'm going for a 1-year member agreement or lease, is what you would call it, and vetting the tenants and doing the background checks myself instead of using pad split. So far so good. We've got 3 1-year leases in about 19 days. For those that are doing this or even long-term rentals, I'm a big fan of Turbo Tenant. I've been using Turbo Tenant for 1.5 years, and it's really good at marketing. And if Dion's still on, I owe Dion, man, I owe you dinner, drink, something, because he looked at my ad and he said, I'm going to segue real quick. He looked at my ad and said, oh, this is, I asked him to look at it. He's like, yeah, sure. And I know he didn't say it this way, but this is how I took it. He says, this is exactly what I think a real estate investor would do. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And he goes, that wasn't a compliment. So he said, you need to think about it from the renter's point of view. Duh. So I took that mentality with that. And also, I switched gears because I was using Magic Door. Great for me, bad for renters. So I switched up to Turbo Tenant. Not that great for me. They're going through some stuff with their templates, but on the renter side, it's fantastic. So yeah, so far so good. We've got 5 more to fill, and we'll see. Time will tell.
Sorry, I was just Tracy, if you can, I put everyone else's YouTube channel on Jared's page. So if you can, come subscribe to our channels also. But she does say, oh, switching to 1-year agreements now. Let's see. And yes, Chris Webb is talking smack about my Chicago Bears, but little does he know, Curtis is a Bears fan also.
No, man,
But
you gotta stop with this. You gotta stop.
um, house hacks, deconstructing dreams says house hacks are the best. I have been in mine for 13 years. And so we do have a lot of people new, looks like, from Jared's channel and whatnot. Curtis, they may not know about your story, your initial house hack, and I think that's a great story to share on how you got on a property ladder. So maybe tell the new people your story.
Oh yeah, so I started off as a part-time teacher. So if you think teachers don't get paid a lot, imagine working part-time. And so I lived at my mom's for about a year and a half, saved up enough for a down payment on a duplex, where the side that I occupied was a 3-bedroom, a 1.5 bath. Well, I don't need all that space. I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, I don't have pets. So I kind of sectioned it off, and I got the primary suite, and it had its own exterior door, so it kind of worked. But in doing so, I didn't have a kitchen, I didn't have a shower, I didn't have washer or dryer. I had about 200 square feet of just me and my stuff. So it's kind of like a studio, but like a micro. And I kind of made that work. I was able to live for free for about a year. It was great. The question always comes up, well, how did you eat? How did you shower? How did you wash your clothes? Because I didn't have any of those, what I think of now as like luxuries. So for the showering, I'd shower at work because my office has a shower in it. Or I'd go to the gym, or I'd go to my mom's. Speaking of my mom, that's where I'd also do laundry. It was like my college days all over again. On Sundays, I'd go over there and with my bag of clothes and wash them up. And then for eating, I had a microwave and an air fryer, but you can't use them at the same time or else it pops the circuit. I found that out once, and I never made that mistake again. It's not great when you got to text the tenant, hey, can you flip the breaker, because the breaker was on their side. And so I only made that mistake once. But in doing so, within a year, I had enough saved up to get the triplex. So if you're willing to sacrifice for a short amount of time, it kind of speeds up the process.
I just want to say Tracy must be a bot or something from your channel, Jared, because she's saying go Packers. So yeah, I'm gonna have to block her if I do see her on my channel. No, but I'm not sure. I'm not. So Brian, who has a very big channel, but he says before you post your content, don't send to your subscriber first. A small YouTube channel. I'm not sure. What does that mean? I'm trying to figure out. Before you post your content, don't send to your subscriber first. Brian, if you're still here, maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit more. Still trying to wrap my head around that one. So Curtis, do you have any business credit cards yet?
Not really. I have a credit card I use for business expenses. I use the Alaska card because that's the airline that has their hub here in Seattle, and so with the hopes of traveling more, I kind of use that card. But from what I've been hearing, you can use business credit and business cards for all sorts of things. So maybe that's a YouTube journey that I have to go on, is learning on how that works.
I have a feeling, and it's not financial advice again. I have a feeling he's asking you if you have business cards, because he's gonna say charge your student loans on that.
Oh, interesting.
But like I said, it's not advice, but I have a feeling that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
Alex, the accidental investor, does say, if you get Dion to let you buy his meal, let me know. A lot of food. Ever since Chris Webb came into the chat, there's a lot of food discussion going on. But I don't know, Jared, do you want to dig into, I guess Tracy is asking maybe why the switch? And I know you're answering her questions in the chat, but do you want to maybe put that out there on live or kind of discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, we mentioned at the beginning, so she must have joined later. So the pad split, I've got 3 properties, 24 units with pad split, and everything was going along swimmingly. And then they started taking on investors like Mark Cuban, right? For those that don't know, PadSplit's a $200 million company, and they weren't profitable until 2024, right? And they've been around for a while, but they became profitable because they switched their fee structure, right? So basically, they take the first 10 days of every new member, right? Well, and 8%. They used to be 14.75 flat and static. Anyway, I'm trying to get all financial, but static stuff you can account for and run performers and all that. Well, when you have a variable like that, so I'm just solo. It's just me. I don't have investors, so I'm just doing everything myself for now. But the people that have taken on investors, they started deviating away from it, and I did the same thing even as a solo investor because I can't account for that. I've done the math on and talked to other hosts, and on average, it's in my market, it's about 4.7 months of average stay. And so if you lose the first 10 days, 100% and 8% for that first month, you're going backwards, in my opinion. I mean, it's tough. So I decided to pivot and do this fourth one on my own. If it proves out, well, my leases end with PadSplit, I'll peel them off slowly and then roll into this, and I'll have all of them be ran by myself. So it's just financial is all it is. And I did have a sit down, a one-on-one with, what is his name? Alec, whoever the CEO of PadSplit is. He's got a weird name. I forgot it. LeBlanc, Alec, or whatever his name is. And he explained to me what they were doing because of marketing. I was like, that's great. You're a business. You got to do what you got to do. But I'm a business as well, and it doesn't work for me. So sorry. I got a big mouth. And so the EA of Arizona reached out to me and said, hey, man, you're hurting us here. I was like, I'm not hurting you. You guys are hurting you. You guys are the ones doing this. And so I know people that sold off portfolios to move to Austin and doing all kinds of stuff. And I think they made a big mistake there, but they're a big company. They'll figure it out, so.
And for those of you who are tuning in and may not know, Jared will be speaking at the ORAT event in Vegas in February on day one. So come get your tickets and check it out. And like he mentioned, the keynote speakers are Pace Morby and Jason Hartman. And like I said, maybe we'll go about 10 more minutes or so. I think someone might be live streaming at noon Pacific or what? Frank, are you going live today?
Yeah, got pushed back a little bit, so probably around 1 or so. Mikey and I are going to be, we've been trying to do the highlight videos for our Wednesday calls live.
All right. So if anyone is free, go check it out. It's a great content of what Frank does on Wednesdays with their accountability call. And we do have a rock star jumping in right now, Justin Cambra. It looks like he's tuning in. Rock star agent investor in Curtis's somewhat area.
Mm-hmm.
And if people haven't heard, I'm going to be doing a regular live sessions now on Monday with Cody Davis and on Tuesday with Brandon Potts. And me and Justin will probably figure something out when he gets back from his recent travels. Flavio has a question for you, though, Curtis. He said, do you accept tenant with pets like chickens?
So for those that don't know, I hate birds. I hate them. So I've never put in the ad that you can't have birds, but let's just say I've never had a tenant that had a bird.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, we have a lot of new people tuning into. Do you want to quickly tell everyone why you don't like birds?
Man, you're about to get my blood pressure up here early in the morning. So birds, why? Okay, they're everywhere. You cannot escape them. They're in the air. Okay, they fly around. Okay, you think that you can escape them. But then they're also on land. There's ostriches. Have you ever seen an ostrich? That thing is like my size, but it's as fast as your car. I don't know why they exist. And then if you get in the water, there's like penguins and shit. They're just everywhere, and they will mess you up. They look all cute and like innocent, but they're not. And so I just hate birds, and I'll just end it there. But
I think Cynthia's in the background laughing. Does she want to get on camera, Frank? Hi, Cynthia.
She was rolling though, and I think Curtis, hate is such a strong word. Cynthia was wondering if you've ever been attacked by a bird.
I wish there was a word stronger than hate. I loathe, I despise, I do not like birds.
So as I mentioned earlier, once C-Web entered the chat, there was a lot of food discussion. But like I said, in Vegas, he's already got planned out, I think, places for us to go eat at. So he got the whole lineup. But he says, great idea. I haven't paid for a flight in 8 years. I use Southwest. And he says, Southwest is great for flights, not for food, though.
Mm.
Hyder does say, Curtis is my brother from another mother. We really need to connect and compare. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people saying Curtis. Congrats. First rule of discipline. Yeah, a lot of So like I said, I think people that don't know your story, that's why I always that's the first thing I kind of mention about Curtis. I always love that story, and I think it just shows your dedication and commitment. And like we're joking. Me, Jared, Frank are a little bit, or not a little bit, much older than you. But we do see you, being well on your way to financial freedom, man. Definitely. Oh, everyday wealth builders. Yep. So Jared got his hat
Yeah.
already.
I'm covering up the gray hair. I'm young at heart.
Oh, okay. So so Curtis Bryan is saying, do you have an EIN business credit card, 0% interest for 12 to 24 months?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of these types of cards, but I've never really used them. So, have any of you used a card in like this?
I think Frank has, right?
Yeah, we just, so I was going to say quickly, from what I understand, we did get business credit cards when we started our journey. At the time, you guys have seen probably Ashley Hamilton on Bigger Pockets, the Detroit investor. And her thing at the time was she would get business credit cards with 0% interest for 12 to 24 months, buy a property with it, rehab it, burr it out, and pay the credit card back before she incurred any interest. So we, I was trying to think of the name of the company that we got ours through, but Fund and Grow, Cynthia reminded me. Fund and Grow, it was a program, and they apply for business credit cards on your behalf. It was $3,500. It was $1,700 for each of us to go through it. We didn't have any business credit, but what he's talking about, I think, with the EIN is if you put your debt on it, it doesn't reflect on your personal credit side. So if you're going for loans for a property or something, it doesn't show up as debt. So I think it could be valuable to dig into. Even though we've gone through it, I'm not an expert on it, but it's certainly something that's valuable, especially like in our case. I mentioned all the money we put out. So I had money on a few credit cards, $10,000, $20,000 here and there. So I just recently got it is a personal card, but it's 0% interest for 18 months. So I transferred it to there. It cost us $750 to transfer it, but I can pay it down without incurring interest. And then hopefully by the time the APR comes around, we'll have most of it paid off.
So then my question, because I think Mark, you said that you have used something like this. So with the property, I get it makes sense, right? You can burr in 18 months or 24 months. But if you're doing like longer term things, or you have to do a lump sum because you don't have the cash to fix things, or things pop up, what happens at the end of the 18 months or end of the 24? Do you do like a balance transfer, or how do you take care of it so you're not paying that?
Yeah,
24%.
A lot of people do that. I think Big Cody Evers started introducing us to it, and you can just keep transferring to different cards if you can apply and get accepted. There is usually it's like 5%. There's a minimum. So if you transfer onto a card, they charge you something for it. But typically it would be a lot less than the 22 to 24% interest that you'd pay. And so, for example, if you transfer 10,000 today and you can pay whatever, 500, 1,000 a month, you can probably pay it off before the interest would start. But if you can't, then the balance is what, say you have 3,000 left, then it's going to be 3,000 instead of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So even, I think Cody Davis talks about it also, right? Sometimes, especially in the beginning of your journey, sometimes things don't go as planned and you're just trying to figure out ways to pay the bill, or, so it's not that we're recommending like this is the smartest thing to do, but sometimes you're trying to figure out options on how to lessen the blow, or kind of get through the next 6 months, right? So these are options where, like, Frank is saying, you're putting it on this 0% interest, whatnot, and just trying to buy yourself some time to figure out how to either get their cash or hopefully things stabilize. But it definitely is an option, and that's what, like Frank mentioned, usually. So that is, I know Dion is very, has his LLC rant and whatnot, and he makes a lot of valid points. But there is some reasons to have the LLC to get the business credit cards, so that the debt doesn't show up in your name also too, right? So even if you are applying for loans still yet, that debt's not going to show up there and affect your credit score on your personal side, right? So
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Well, I'm
no, go
sorry.
ahead.
One other note. Even though it's 0% interest for 24 months, you are expected to make a payment each month, and it's usually about 1% of the balance. So it doesn't mean you don't pay anything for 24 months. If it's $10,000, you'd probably pay $100 a month at least as a minimum payment. So you do have to keep those up, otherwise it would void the terms.
Before we get to Justin Canberra's question, I did forget. So Curtis, quickly, how what's your site? How big are you?
Well, what are you asking me?
No,
here,
for the
Mark?
chick, because Andy, who's also a big dude, he deathly is afraid of chickens also.
Okay, yeah. I'm about 6'2", probably like 290 or 300 at the moment.
So Andy's probably, I believe he's probably a little bit shorter than you, but he's probably wider than you. But he says, yeah, well, you guys have a good day. My blood pressure is going to rise to Curtis. Pass on, the chicken. He's deathly afraid from his childhood. Something happened to him. He does have a great chicken story to tell. But I'm thinking of bringing a live chicken with me to the ORAD event. Then I'm going to let one run loose around there. But Justin does have a question for you, Jared. It says, for rent by room, does 3 beds makes sense? What is ideal bed count, 4 or 5? But before you answer that, I did put Jared's school community. It's free. It's a rent by room community in the school community. So the link is in the chat. And he also says he hosts meetings the first Wednesday of every month at 5 p.m. Pacific on that school group. So if you haven't, go check it out. But yeah, Jared, if you can.
And Frank, we end at 6, so we can make your meeting. Just FYI.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So it's an hour. Yeah, well, I guess Justin, you're the man. So, but it's based on the debt structure, really. So if you can get the house to where 3 or 4, or what does it say, room, does 3 bed make sense? It would if it met the debt structure. Now, for what I'm doing, so don't judge, but I don't buy anything unless it makes $1,000K net or more, because of the, as Matt would say, the BS to income ratio. It can be pretty high. So I want to make sure I'm making $1,000. My lowest month, on average on one of the properties is like $1,200, but it's usually about $1,500. One's about $2K, one's about $3K net. So I'm trying to hit those higher net incomes. Like, to me, the long-term rental doesn't make sense, but it comes with the BS, right? So that's why you're vetting the members. So Justin, it depends on the you're up there with the OG rent by room guy. I forgot his name. Todd Baldwell, is that right?
Todd Baldwin.
Todd, yeah, man. So that guy is the man. And like Sam Wiegert on the other coast in North Carolina, South Carolina, I think, on the Carolinas. I listen to a lot of those guys and pick up a lot of stuff from those guys. But yeah, it depends on the debt structure. So that's why like Creative and Sub2 and Seller Finance. Well, Seller Finance is great everywhere. Those really interest me, because then I wouldn't have to spend the money on construction, because I take 2,000. For those that are listening, I do 2,000 square feet or better, no HOA, no pool, 2.5 bath. And parking. But that's only because of the debt structure, because I'm buying conventionally. But if I was to get something creative and I could get a 3-bedroom and leave it as is, maybe add 1 bedroom, then yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
All right. Yeah, like I said, so it looks like Tracy is going to probably join your free rent by room school community, which is cool. But yeah, it looks like we're going to have, if I recall, we're going to have a shot put tournament also, right, in Vegas, right, Curtis? I think there's a bunch of guys that was talking how they're reliving their glory days of shot putting in college and high school. So I think there's Cody Evers.
Oh boy.
Curtis. I think there's a few others.
I did shot put. I didn't know that was a thing you guys were doing.
Get the icy hot ready, guys.
There you go.
Late Start Well says emotional support chicken. Brian also mentions he used a business credit card as a balance transfer feature at 3%. Pay $10,000 towards your student loan debt, then you pay $1,000 a month towards the card. If it has a 12 months, 0%. Yep. Very cool. Anything else? I mean, this is a good one. I don't want to go too long. I know you guys got stuff to do. It's a Saturday. Any final words you want to wrap things up with? Jared, go first. Anything you want to say?
No, I just thank you for putting the channel out there. You know, I got that little school community is just rent by room people, and we talk strategy and stuff. And I figured I'd just start with once a month, and we've had it twice now, and just living from or learning from other people. So thank you for having me on, Mark.
No, man, it's also thanks for messaging me yesterday. It's been a while. I did save your text message, so everyone, I do have proof that Jared said he does miss me. So I'm gonna share that to everyone. But Frank, any final words?
You guys gave me a lot of thoughts. I think there's a couple I'd like to mention now, but maybe the rest of them we could get into if anybody's interested when Mikey and I go live. The one thing, Mark, you were talking about was the failure thing that you mentioned with your subscribers and your goal there when you went to Vegas. It's hard to gauge what social media can do, right? And you made me think about just the t-shirts, is a crazy thing. I thought the t-shirts would fly off the shelves with the way this community is. And I mean, it is what it is, but I think for the rest of us, we realize how much you do for all of us.
This is live, Frank.
And
it's
okay, but just a second.
Oh.
But we really appreciate it because you're in everything, you know, us all. Like you mentioned, I've been trying to figure out the Zoom thing. You help us with that. So we are grateful to you for that. The other thing I heard, I think it was Ray, was talking about deep conversations. He enjoys deep conversations, and I think we get into those a lot of times, but it made me think of something that Curtis was saying in the beginning about, and I know it's probably a little bit off the topic, but the free lunches and the free breakfasts for the kids who need them. That's where I came from. So I just wondered if you see any like stigmas for your students that need those. I don't know, do the other kids tease them, or I don't know what grades you're involved with, but it was just a thought.
Yeah, I'm in prime time tease age 6th through 8th grade, and so just remember back to when you were that age and imagine what that was like. But the good news about our school is every kid gets free lunch. So there's not really a stigma because it's not like, oh, this kid has this card or this kid has this card. Like everyone gets it free. It's because a certain population of our school is low income.
Okay.
And so there's no really stigma there. Although what's very interesting, and I was talking to our social worker that works at our school, is I was asking her, I was like, hey, I was in the parent pickup line, and we say that we're a low income school, but the cars that are coming through here are actually, there's some really nice ones. What's that about? And she's like, well, if they're low income, they still want to look like they have stuff. Even though they might be living with family members, so they don't have to pay rent, but they pay towards their nice car. And then what's interesting is with those families, I see the kids doing the same thing. Like maybe they're kind of bouncing from couch to couch, but they always flaunt the Jordans that they have because they want to look like they're cool. And I think that's kind of a learned behavior from the parents. It was very interesting that she pointed that out because I'm like, okay, the kid is flaunting the Jordans or the cool clothes that they have, even though their family has no money. And then their parents or the uncles or whoever's dropping them off is trying to flaunt like they have money via the nice cars and things like that, even though they don't.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you might find it hard to believe, but I can remember back to 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
But we had lunch tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the thing. If you went up there with your lunch ticket, then everybody knew, right? And I'm lucky I was big enough that nobody ever messed with me about it, but there were kids that did get, teased and stuff like that. So it was just an interesting thought. Thanks for sharing that. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Mark, for the invite today too.
No, like I said, I always thank you guys for coming on. Brian, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll see you in the live streams more often. Hyder does say I just found my transcripts from 6th to 8th grade. The comments from my professors were hilarious. Some really good, some not reflecting my good side. But yeah, Curtis, any final words from you then, I guess? To
No,
wrap things up?
I'm just so grateful to be part of the group and interact with you guys. It's been a while since I've talked to Jared or seen Frank, and so it's great to see you guys. For those that are subscribed to my channel, I got 2 interviews scheduled for next week with some awesome like lenders that are talking the different programs that they have and how to use them. So yeah.
Very cool. Hey, Karen, thanks for tuning in. She said, just noticed that as well while helping a church distribute food to those in need. Didn't want to judge, but you're right. It's an image. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Karen's also in the school community. So thanks for stopping by. But before we wrap things up, Curtis, are you still doing? I know you and Jack are trying to do weekly stuff too, right? Are you and
Yeah.
Jack?
At least every month, or every 2 weeks ish, about every 2 weeks, and it actually will show up on Jack's channel. Last time we talked about interest rates and what we're seeing in our markets, and if we're seeing things change and how so.
Cool. Hey, Eden's tuning in. She says, "Thank you, Frank, and everyone. I'm thankful that I found this awesome community." Yeah, I think that's the one big thing, right? I think there was a few people that attended the Bigger Pockets conference. Zuber, Dion were speakers there. So Alex, who's here, also did attend that, and I think he's going to be attending the ORAD event for the first time in February. But I think there is a big difference, and people do notice there's a difference. And I think a lot of it is, like you said, I think Alex put it a good way in one of the comments. He said he sees a lot of dreamers on the Bigger Pocket side, and maybe not a lot of action takers yet. And the ORAT community is kind of a little bit flipped. You see a lot of action takers, and not really so much. Yeah, they're dreaming, but it's a little bit more reality, I guess, in a sense, right? More realistic goals.
Chester took him a couple years, but he got there.
Oh,
Excuse me.
he's not even
Did I come
here
out
to
loud?
defend himself. I didn't even see him here in the comments.
He's not here. He's
Um,
always here. Chester, I meant that with love, man.
Brian says, if any of you guys need someone to talk about financial letters on your channel, let me know. Oh, all right. Well, yeah, maybe I'll reach out to you. You got to get on camera, though. I know a lot of people don't want to get on camera and live stream, but definitely reach out to me, Brian, or I'll try to reach out to you and find you. But yeah, thanks for taking time on a Saturday. This was a lot of fun. Frank, just remind everyone, what time are you going live today?
We'll do our best to come on right at 1.
One. And who's going to join you today?
Mikey. Mikey always joins me for the highlights. I think now it's called the Mikey and Frank Show, so he's taking the lead.
All right. Yeah, Mikey is another Hawaii resident investing in the Pittsburgh market. So Mikey is a great behind the scenes kind of staple in the communities, but go check that out. So financial literacy, Brian says. Yeah, Brian, reach out to Jared, or we'll get your information and we'll connect with you and maybe get you on the channel, man. But yeah, you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Have a great rest of the weekend. If you are in the school community, I believe Zuber is going live tomorrow in the school community at 8 a.m. Pacific, I believe.
8, I think.
Yeah,
Early.
8 a.m. Pacific. So everyone tune in there, and I will see you folks on Monday if not.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.